In this video, I'm going to be modeling for you how to solve multiplicative comparisons. A multiplicative comparison is when you are comparing two values or two people and what they have or two groups of objects, but there's a multiplication relationship there. So I'm going to go through three different ways that a multiplicative comparison could be worded or asked, and you'll see that tiny little differences in the way it is worded can get you a different thought process that you have to go through. So we're going to be looking at Rose and Layla, but because of the different information we're given, we're then going to be trying to solve a different question. So let's get started here. This first one here says Rose rolled the roller coaster 6 times. Layla rode the roller coaster 3 times, as many times as Rose. How many times did Layla ride the roller coaster? So what we always like to start out with is just who or what is being compared. So here, Rose and Layla are being compared and the number of times they rode the roller coaster. Then what we want to look at is a lot of times one person we're told their specific information, but another person we're given a clue about them or a comparison to another, which helps us get to what they do have. So if we look back here, it says Rose rode the roller coaster 6 times. So that is a specific number there for Rose. Rose rode it 6 times. There's no thinking involved for that. But here it says Layla rode the roller coaster 3 times as many as Rose. She did what Rose did 3 times. So some people might model it like this. She did what Rose did 3 times, which is 18. Or you might show it like this. Rose rode it 6 times. Layla did that 3 times. She did what Rose did 3 times because it says 3 times as many as Rose. So you should be thinking, oh, Layla should have a greater value of how many times she rode the roller coaster because she did it 3 times more than Rose. So there's a little bit of kind of common sense thinking here too of Layla should have a larger number than Rose because she rode it 3 times more. So Rose rode it 6 times, Layla rode it 18 times. So you can use an equation or you can use a little bit of a bar model type. All right, now let's look at this next question. It's still Layla and Rose, but we're given different information, so we're asked a different question. So here it says Layla rode the roller coaster 18 times. This was 3 times as many times as Rose rode the roller coaster. So again, our first thought is what is being compared? Oh, well, it's Layla and Rose. Now let's look back and see if we know any specific information. Well, it says Layla rode the roller coaster 18 times. Okay, and then it says this was. So you have to think this was. What is this? Oh, this, the 18, it's referring back to this 18 times. This was 18 was 3 times as many as Rose. So 18 is 3 times more than what Rose did. So the way you can think about this is you could do, well, what times 3 is 18? Because 18 is 3 times more than what Rose did. So you could think about it that way. Or you could draw another bar model. You could say, well, what Layla did was 3 times what Rose did. So if I draw a visual here, Layla did 3 times what Rose did. So then I need to think here, what times 3 is 18? Or 3 groups of what is 18? 3 groups of 6 is 18. So even though we have the same information here that Rose is 6 and Layla is 18, we were given different information and we were asked a different question. Here we were asked about Layla, here we were asked about Rose, and we were given different information. Okay, so these 2 examples, we were trying to find one of the person's values or one of the group values. This third problem here is a little bit different. So it says Rose rode the roller coaster 6 times, Layla rode the roller coaster 18 times. How many more times did Layla ride than Rose? So going in, what or who is being compared? Oh, Rose and Layla. And it tells us exactly Rose rode a roller coaster 6 times and Layla rode it 18 times. So here we're actually given their specific number of rides. So the question though is how many times more did Layla ride than Rose? Now, since first grade, they've been doing comparison and they know that it's 12 more times, but we really want them to also notice that there's a multiplication relationship here. That 6 and 18 have a relationship that 6 times 3 is 18. So what that means is this times 3 tells us that Layla rode the ride 3 times more than Rose. This is what Rose did. This is what Layla did. So Layla rode it 3 times more, 3 times as many times as what Rose did. So you could do 12, but we really as 4th graders want to also notice multiplication relationships. So that's what we're practicing here is the multiplicative comparison. Also, I just really want to quickly talk to you about, you might see words such as 3 times as many or 3 times more. So those are your kind of clues, the as many as or the 3 times more than, as kind of some clues that you're using a multiplicative comparison. So really think about what or who is being compared, what information you're specifically given, and then the others are kind of like clues to get you to what you're trying to solve for. So think about those 3 steps when you are solving multiplicative comparisons.